What's up, everybody? 360 in the house. Welcome back to the 360 Elite Trading course. This chapter today is going to be on support and resistance. You know, in the other chapter we talked about candlesticks. We've talked about some trending and trend lines. So we're still covering support and resistance because, as you know, trend lines function as support and resistance. However, this time we're kind of covering price action support and resistance, and we identify that by horizontal levels or horizontal support and resistance lines. That's price action, support, and resistance. So let's get to it. I hope you guys are excited. I hope you're ready. I'm pumped. I could do this all day long. All right, let's take a look up here at TradingView at our chart. Let's talk a little bit about support and resistance. So basically, there's resistance, and that would be support. And then, of course, you know, price meanders back and forth. It doesn't have to look just like this, but just so you get the idea, this top horizontal line functioning right now as resistance and this bottom horizontal line functioning as support. So let's go ahead and put some labels on this so that you guys can understand the terminology. All right. So this bottom line here, this is what we would call our support level. This could also be a trend line. This would be called our support level. It is also called the demand zone or the buying zone. It's where buyers step in. That's the whole point of charting. It's to give you a picture of exactly what is going on, the battle between buyers and sellers. It's not voodoo science. It's not rocket science. That's all you're doing. The display of that battle comes on these charts. So these lines that we draw give you a better picture and bring that battle into focus so you can make decisions on where and how to enter the market. That's how important this basic technical analysis that I'm teaching you is. It's vital. So if we do that on the top, this would be resistance, supply. All right. So this is basically the fundamental things. This is the undercurrent of what is going on with this line. So this line as resistance acts as a supply area, meaning there is an availability of sellers at the market at this level. And that's why this line works as resistance, because the sellers step in and they sell and they drive the price back down until it reaches some type of support or a demand zone where the buyers step back in and push that price back up. Now that's the basic structure of it. It never looks quite as clean as this, but this is just so you get the general idea of that battle and why these lines are important. So it could look like, it doesn't have to look just like that. You remember last time we did our trend lines, and we have action running through these lines like this, battle between buyers and sellers. And again, the same items apply to the trend lines. This top trend line acts as the resistance where the supply is. That means if this is Bitcoin, there's plenty of the supply of Bitcoin available. So the sellers step in and sell and drop that price down. And then the lower trend line that's moving this up is the support of the demand. That's where the demand structure is at. That's where the buyers are willing to buy Bitcoin and drive the price back up. So that's pretty much the simple explanation, if you break it down into bare bones, onto how that resistance, how that support works. So we can have support and resistance using trend lines. We can have support and resistance using moving averages. Yes, a moving average, which we haven't talked about yet, but we will. A moving average can function as an area of resistance or support. And then the price action or the horizontal levels, which we're actually going to be talking about extensively today, also provide resistance and support. So let's get this off here And I'm going to now show you exactly how to draw this puppy. How do I draw horizontal lines using TradingView? So if it's a short term, meaning if I'm looking at a very short timeline, time frame, then a lot of times I use the trend line right here, and I want to draw it myself. So I would basically, just like we did before, and horizontally just like that. I can shorten it, I can lengthen it. I'm showing you off chart right now so you can see it clearly before we actually get into the actual chart. So there I have a horizontal support or resistance. So if I drew another one and a price was channeling between here, I'd have support, I'd have resistance. This is where those buyers step in. This is where those sellers step in. Very simple. Now there's another cool tool on here that I love to use, especially when I zoom out. Because as you know, we zoom out first and then we zoom in when we are identifying support and resistance. And this is the line you use for that. So come back up here, click on this right arrow. And what you want to do is you want to grab this horizontal line right here. The reason why I like this tool is because this line will draw that horizontal line all the way across every time frame. That's right, every single time frame. So you don't have to draw it yourself. Basically, no matter where I put this, as soon as I left click, boom, it slaps that line up, and that I can go through any time frame. I can switch back and forth, and that line is going to be there, and it's precise. It shows you exactly where it's coming from, going to, and it's automatic. So you don't have to try to imagine, trying to draw your own over a 6-year period. You have to drag that puppy way back. You could do it. It's just easier just to pop this sucker on there, and bang, there you go. So I don't use this for very short time periods because I don't need it to run that far. But when I'm zoomed out, like to the monthly or the yearly or the weekly chart, I will use this line a lot because I want to see it go all the way into the future so that when I'm making trade decisions, it shows up for me automatically. So those are the two methods of doing it. You can draw it yourself or you can slap this one up. Up here, you can make changes to it. So I can make it thicker right here at the top. I can change the color. You can make it any color you want, especially if you want to. A lot of times I like to distinguish between my horizontal support and resistance versus my trend lines. You don't have to, but if your chart starts getting messy and you have a lot of things on there, then it's a good idea to just change your colors if you would like, just to give you a better picture. It depends on what you like to see up there. I'm a visual person, so I like to be able to change the colors at will. It's nice. So thickness, you can change it to dotted lines like that. You can change it to hash lines like that. I don't mess with that a whole lot. I'm pretty simple. I like to keep it simple. So that's pretty much how I go. It starts out pretty thin. I don't like it that thin. For me, that's just not big enough. So I really like it a little thicker. I just want to see it better. I actually like it thicker than that. I like to see it better. So that's how you draw horizontal lines. It's very simple. We're going to get into the chart here in a minute. But first, some pointers that you need to know. That you need to have these notes down for this. And one is to zoom out, just like we did for trend lines. Start zoomed out. Start drawing your horizontal price action levels zoomed out. So start at the bigger time frames. Usually that's the monthly, then come down to the weekly, then come down to the daily. That way you can see all time frames, all horizontal price action levels when you're actually zooming in to make your trades. Many traders fail to do that. Many traders just spend time on those 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, and they draw these lines. And because they don't zoom out, they miss a lot of supply and demand zones, and it ends up killing them on their trades. They think, well, I'm just a short-term trader. I'm just a scalper. I'm just a short-term trader. I'm a day trader. I don't need to do that. And then it just ends up smoking them, smacking them in the face because they miss a vital. Why is it vital? If you remember, I told you the farther back that area of resistance and support goes, the longer that line is, the more important it is. The bigger of a structure it is. The smaller the time zone, the smaller the time frame, and the shorter that line goes, it's less important. It's less important. It's less likely to sustain for very long. But it's those long history. That is what I'm known for. It freaking works. And people are like, where are you getting these lines from? Because they don't see the whole picture. because it's showing up on a small time frame. And sure enough, when you zoom out, it's like, oh my goodness, there it is. Wow, this is 5 years ago, and there's that resistance and support. I never saw it. This is what I'm known for. This is one of my secrets. Man, take it and use it because it works and it's awesome. So zoom out. Draw the obvious ones first. That's the ones with the most touches. And remember, we don't care. Any part of the candle will work. There's like I said last time, there's people that argue we only connect the bodies of the candles, and there's another group that says we only connect the wicks. Nope, combined. Most touches combined. I don't get into that mess. Because remember, lines are areas. This is another secret. It doesn't matter whether it's a trend line, whether it's a moving average line, or whether it is a horizontal price action line. They are areas, not a specific exact price. Yes, it shows up right here. Like if you look at this one, does it show up? It says it's 56,544. And that is a precise point. However, a trend line is not pinpointed to that. And I told you before, as long as any part of a candle is touching it, I don't care whether it's a wick. It could be way above this, but as long as any part of the candle is touching that, then that trend line or that support and resistance or that horizontal line owns the price. That's right. It owns it. It still applies. The trend line still applies. And you'll see that almost every time you draw. So remember that. That's very important. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do one. Let's go ahead with the XRP, the drama queen of crypto. We are starting out with the monthly. I don't really go much higher than that right now because of how long some of these have been in business. You know, these haven't been around for 50 years, so there's no reason for me to go to a yearly chart. It's just not that important. So normally with crypto, I try to back up to the monthly first. And even then, sometimes that's too high because a lot of these cryptos are too new to have really much data on the monthly chart. However, with XRP, we're going to start here. So let's find some of these price action, support, and resistance lines. You want to go with most obvious first. So I'm going to go ahead and freehand draw these myself because I have the whole picture on this right now. Obvious, I can kind of, well, let's go ahead. I'm going to use the new tool since it's new for you guys, just to show you. Let's see. Let's go with, looks like bam, I just dropped it right there. So we have candle body, touch. We have a touch here. We have some support right here, obviously. And then we have a support right here. So we have a lot of touches on this line that we've just drawn as support. Let's see what else we can find here. Let's do this again right about, looks like we've got some right there. So we have some action right here. Touch. This is a touch. We got bodies coming close, and then we got a lovely resting point here. Becomes resistance through here, and we have some touches right here. On the longer time frames, let's go ahead and draw another one first. This time I'm going to hand draw it. We have obvious one here. So another thing to remember when you zoom out, there may not be quite as many touches on a zoomed out chart. However, I promise you when you zoom in, those lines will have more touches because there'll be a lot more candles. For example, let me give you an example. This candle right here is 1 month, but when you drop down to the weekly, there are many candles that make this up. So there could be many more touches on this line, even though right here you only see one. Same goes for this right here. You could have many candles touching this on the weekly, whereas on the monthly, you only have one touch. So even if you only have, and I'll give you an example, look at this ATH right here. Yes, I want to draw one there. Why? Because that is going to be even though there's one touch, remember on a zoomed out chart, especially when you come to the ATHs, they still will apply. If you don't think this is going to provide resistance when XRP finally does come up here, you're crazy, even though it's one touch. Very important, and possibly even this structure right here. So we have just zoomed out, and we have already dropped we've dropped five areas of support and resistance, 5 areas of supply and demand, 5 areas of buying and selling, and they're very obvious. So that's pretty fantastic. So now let's go ahead and drop this down and see what it looks like on a lower time frame. Bang. Let's see how this played out. Let's go ahead and grab this and bring it in. Look how many more touches. Look how many more touches. Look at this. Look how many times these lines are now touched when you zoom in, when you start to zoom in, when you drop down. Look how this will come into play in the future as potential targets. That's why I love to draw them all the way into the future, because these price points we're going to be able to use for what? For eventual trade targets. Yes, there's no action up there right now, but that's why you always want to extend your lines. I don't care whether it's a trend line, whether it's a support and resistance, a horizontal, extend it out into the future. Now, these down here, they may never come into play again. I mean, XRP, you don't know because of SEC, but for the most part, we know we're in the third bull market. So the odds of, these down here coming into play, they're not that great. So do they have to be on the chart? No, but they're not bothering me, so I leave them there. If your chart gets too messy, you can pull these off. Clean this up a little bit and delete these because, based on where we're at in the third bull market, these cryptos are going to be going much higher. So the most important ones are these bad boys right in here. These would be the most important. So we can see that now on the weekly, and you can actually begin to add more. As you drop down, you can actually add more lines because you're going to see more price action. Remember, when you zoom in, you start to see more and more noise, more and more price action. And you can see an obvious one right in here. Bam! That we could not see on the monthly. Right here. Boom. We had some. And look, it's actually holding up right now. This line that we just drew is actually holding up right now as support. So we drew another obvious one. They had some support right here. Broke through, provided some resistance before coming down. And then here it provided resistance. So this is another area of supply and demand. Let's go ahead and drop this down again. See how we're zooming in? We went from monthly to weekly. We're going to drop down to the daily. Oh, now look, now you can see what I'm talking about the busyness and how effective these bad boys have been. I mean, look at this action. Look at this line right here. To the T. To the T as for resistance. I mean, to the letter. I feel like the magician. This is how I feel right now. I feel like the magician that has just revealed his secrets and has lost his power. That's what I feel like right now because I'm exposing the simplicity of my beautiful arbitrary lines, which we know are not arbitrary. They're just not. And they're becoming so unmagical because you're getting to see the reality and the power of these lines, especially back in history. This action right here, most traders don't even look at. They're so busy tuned into this stuff right here. And look at how this long-term one back here came and smacked you right in the face, even on the pump and dump. If you guys recall, this was the pump and dump. I mean, to the T. And we're talking about something that began back in December 2017, baby. Goodness gracious. Zoom out first. Man, if I could pound one thing in your head, it is that. That is where your power is. That is where your magic is. It's going to make you look like a freaking magician when it comes to finding targets and saying, I know where this is going to hit. I know where this is going to find resistance. I know where the sellers are going to step in. And the reverse is true. I know where the buyers are going to come in. And when you know that and you zoom in, man, you can make beautiful trades. Now, not just off of this alone. You never trade off of one item alone. We want to play with the odds in our favor. Right now, we're just talking about these lines. But as we move it forward into this course, we're going to add more, like volume. We're going to add, we're going to add so many other things to let you decide to use these to make excellent trades. So these lines by themselves is not enough. We also want to see how price responds into the trend line, and we want to be looking at volume and a bunch of other things, which we'll talk about in other courses. So we are now at the daily. You can now do this again. You can do this again on the hourly. Bang. Now you got to open this puppy up, This is where we're at right now. This is where we're at right now with XRP. And as you can see, as we begin to open up, I still leave those lines on there because they show up. See, I can scroll up here. See the lines? They're there. And that's great. But now as I zoom in, we know we can do more. We can draw more trend lines. Remember, they're shorter term, but it looks like we have some action right here that comes into play. Bang, look at that. Remember, most touches. I'm trying to get the most touches, and I get a lot. It doesn't matter whether it's a candle or a wick. Look at this. Look, this is a shorter term line. A shorter term horizontal resistance line that was acting as support. Well, look what happened when it broke. Previous support became what? New resistance. I want you to get used to that type of language. It's like right here. Look at this price action right here. Then we have resistance. Once broken, became what? Previous resistance became new support, and it worked like a champ. So once a resistance area is broken, oftentimes it becomes new support. You'll see it break out. You'll see it come back and test that area as support. You guys have seen this many times. I keep pointing it out when I post charts on Twitter because I'm trying to prove a point. Not every time when something breaks resistance does it just keep going. We have that pie in the sky mentality. It's a breakout. It's over. This bad boy's going to run. But 9 times out of 10, that's not what happens. You get a breakout and only to watch price return back to test old resistance as support. And this is healthy. This is healthy. And then you get your real move. Your real trade. Yeah, did you hear that? Your real trade. A lot of breakout traders get whacked because of this. Because they think, breakout, yes, the moon is here, it's Lambo time, oops. And they get jacked out and they get stopped out. This is called a breakout trap. Okay, many times you'll see it come back down. Look at this, it came way back down below. And these guys got caught bag holding. The best trade was to wait for it to come off and break away after testing support. And then look at how that trade would have ended up. Man, it's beautiful. Goodness, it's beautiful. And then we have new support that broke, became new resistance. So get in the habit of drawing these trend lines. Go back in history. Just pull up your favorite coins. Start with the monthly. There's probably not going to be much there. Drop down to the weekly. Then drop down to the hourly. Then drop down to the daily. And start slapping these horizontal price resistance areas. Now we have a new one here for XRP, which I can draw right here. And remember, these are short term. We are on the hourly. So these are shorter term. So these probably aren't going to last forever. And remember, you have to view this in light of the market that you're in. What kind of market are we in? We are in a bull market. We are in a bull market. So even though XRP is stuck in an SEC case, if it wasn't, it's highly likely that these are going to eventually be tested and broken. And this will be next. So once this breaks, this could come back. This price could... Let's just say, let's pull up this tool right here. This could break, come back, test, boom, come back here, test, so on and so forth. That's the type of action that we are looking for that is healthy. We trade off of that information. We trade off that data. But that's just to give you a basic idea there. All right, fantastic. So you know how to draw them. Make sure you go back. History, especially in the items that haven't broken their old ATHs. You can do this. Let's break this back. Let's go back out. The horizontal price action lines only work until something gets to its ATH. Right now, we have Bitcoin that broke out through here. When we got to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's making new highs. What else? Ethereum's making new highs. We have a lot of tokens out that are making new highs. So all of this data, once XRP does eventually break and establishes new all-time highs, then your old stuff, your old horizontal support and resistance lines won't really matter much, except maybe the top one as support. So, going back in history, really this far anyway, really only works for the stuff that has not broken out to new all-time highs. What works after something's broken out to new all-time highs? Those historical trend lines, because those things reach way up and up and up, even into the area where price has not actually traded. And we'll see that as we start flipping through charts. As we start flipping through charts, you're going to get to see the action on both horizontal price action, support and resistance, and trend line support and resistance. You're going to get to see both. All right, so let's take a look at Bitcoin. All right, let's zoom out here. I want to go back to, let's go to the daily on Bitcoin. And let's take a look at some action here. Let's go back to 2017. This is the 2017 bull market, when it was inside that 2015 channel I keep drawing, and it finally broke out above. You can see we have a beautiful trend line for that bull market. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous trend line. We also have that channel trend line from 2015. So you get to see what we've already learned holding up. This holding up as beautiful, beautiful bull market trend line running from March 2017 and holding up until 26 January, where we actually started the bear market right here. So within that, we have, after it came out of the bull market and beginning to go into the bear market, it dropped all the way down. I'm going to show you, we have a horizontal line here that was drawn. Let me open this up so you can see this price action better. We're going to talk about how do you know if horizontal lines will be broken or if they will hold up as support. So in this indication, we're in a bear market. We're in a bear market because this is where the bear market started after the second cycle. So here we had a short-term temporary horizontal line. Let's open this up a little more so we can get additional levels. All right. So we have drawn a couple of horizontal areas of support, and I want to show you how this worked, how it played out, how to know whether they would be broken or not. So basically, we have the price action trading above. It came and found support here, traded above, and then found support here, traded above, and then broke it. So what I want you to look at here is this pattern of lower highs. So we have drawn our horizontal level, but we have a pattern of lower highs. That means, even though we have buying holding up down here, we have less and less buyers coming in on the bounce. So we have selling, buying, but we have a lower high right here on this buy. So there are less buyers. So the buyers are starting to die out. So we have basically achieved a decrease in buyers, even though we have horizontal support. Even though we have horizontal support here, we have a decrease in buyers. This is a bad sign. This is a signal that a horizontal line may not hold up as support. You can look at it this way. When you draw a horizontal line, imagine a door, like a hard wooden door, and you want to kick that door in. You're going to kick it the first time, it's going to get weaker. So you're going to rear back and you're going to kick that door again, it's going to get weaker. And you just keep kicking that door, and probably as that door continues to get weaker, the more you kick on that door, the weaker that door gets. Until eventually, what happens to that wooden door? It shatters. So we have tested right here, tested. Kick that door, kick that door. Then we kick that door again. We kick that door. It's been kicked again. Buyers came in. So it comes, but there's not near as much buying. It's a lower high. They came back, kicked that door again until what happened? Boom! The door broke. The door broke. How do we know this was more than likely not going to hold up? Look at the decreased buying. We had lower highs off the support. Even though this remained the same, the support remained the same, the structure of buying changed. Bearishly, less and less buyers stepped in. This shattered. When it shattered, look what happened. It broke down below. It came back. Oh, look. It came back and tested an old trend line. And then came back and look, it kind of tested that old area. It kind of almost tested that old area as resistance before finally shattering through this trend line. But this structure is what I wanted you to look at. When you draw your horizontal lines, how do you know whether they're going to break? On support lines, when you see reduced buying by indication of lower highs, you know that more than likely, not all the time, more than likely, that's going to break. Let's look at a bigger pattern of this. This is the one that killed many people, but it told me we were not done with our lows. You can draw one here. You can also draw a master one here. So we have a massive horizontal price action support. It's massive. It held up. It worked out from November all the way. This is November 2017, all the way to, let's open this up a little bit, to the year later. So we have a whole year. This is a price structure of an entire year. Now I want you to look at what happens here. Look at what is happening between buyers and sellers that told you this was not the low. I would say 75% of traders out there were saying it has bottomed. It has bottomed. So here we have the drop. Bang, this horizontal line held up as support. Yes, it's over. The bull market is over. The bear market is over. Look at this bounce. Man, we're all the way back up to, we went from a 6,000, 5,700, a 6,000 Bitcoin. And we're back in the bull market. All the way to 11, man. All the way to 11. Cheer. Everybody was cheering. Everybody was like, oh, the bear market is over. It's fantastic. And then look. Back off of trend line, almost all the way back down. But look at what happens when it comes back up. Look at the buyers dropping off. Look at the lower highs. The lower highs. We don't necessarily have lower lows. Remember, we don't really have lower lows off this, but we have lower highs. That is what is most important. If you want to know if horizontal support is going to hold, if it has a series of lower highs coming into that with continued knocks on that door, here's a kick, here's a kick. This is close. Here's a kick, here's a kick, here's a kick. I mean, kick, kick, kick. Come on, that door is going to bust. That dam is going to burst. Buyers reduced, buyers reduced, buyers reduced, buyers reduced, buyers reduced until, oh my goodness. But each time this happened, people were like, oh, the support held up. Woo, we're good. Look at this. The support held up. We're good. Oh, the support held up. We're good. The support held up. We're good. People kept saying that over and over, that Bitcoin had found the bottom at 6,000. I knew it hadn't. I knew that it hadn't because of this structure of reduced buying. And sure enough, all hell broke loose. And then when this dropped, people were like, oh, Bitcoin's done. It's going to zero. Bitcoin is done. There's no way Bitcoin's going to trade lower than 6,000. It's going to zero. And look what happened. I mean, absolute annihilation. And we got lows of $3,000. Oh my goodness. The world has come to an end. The sky has fallen. It's over. It's over. It's over. And I was laughing my tail off. The only thing that wasn't over was the bear market. That's it. even though people were yelling for the bear market that it's over on these bounces. But if you can zoom out and see what was happening and understand the current between buyers and sellers, you would know. You would not be stupid enough to say that that's the end. No, this is a very bearish structure. And it's very obvious. Very obvious. Let's look at some more. Here we have a bullish structure. Look at this. It's the opposite. We have a horizontal line holding up as resistance. But look at what happens. Look at what's happening with sellers. Look at this. We have this resistance area. Sellers came in, cracked it. Perfect. Oh, there's where our buying started. Uh-oh. Here's where the sellers come back in. But look at the buyers. They're stepping in earlier and earlier. The sellers are not there at the lower price points. The buyers are. So you have this time you have higher lows. We don't have higher highs. We don't have higher highs. So if you were wanting to know, is this going to hold up? Is this horizontal resistance going to hold up? Well, we're kicking that door again, that wooden door. We're not dropping as low. We have higher lows. We're kicking that door again. We've kicked it once, kicked it twice, 2 or 3 times, kicked it again, kicked it again, kicked it again. This time we smashed it off of higher lows. And look, you can draw this. You can draw this trend, this short-term trend. It shows you clearly. It shows you clearly that buyers are winning the battle down here. Buyers are winning the battle from a series of higher lows. So if you want to know whether horizontal price action is going to hold up, look at the action between buyers and sellers. If it is support, do you have a series of lower highs? Because that says sellers are winning. If it is resistance, do you have a pattern of higher lows? That means buyers are winning. And look at the action. Bang! You get a breakthrough and a run. Let's look at another one over here. Now you're starting to see them. Look at this horizontal level. Beautiful horizontal level. Beautiful. But look what happens. Look at this price structure. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Less and less selling. You have lower highs, less and less selling into this structure. This is bearish. You have less and less selling coming into this structure. More and more kicks on that door. More and more kicks on that door. And then it did break and eventually came back and tested it. And look, that structure held up. And it continued to drive lower. Let's look at this one. I mean, we can do this all day. We can do this all day. Look at this. Now you should be able to see this almost instantly. We have horizontal resistance. We have this pattern of higher lows coming into it. That tells you it's highly likely that that horizontal level is going to break. That door is going to fall. That door is going to fall. And therefore, look what happens. Bang! You get that breakthrough. And we're going to talk about these patterns because we actually do use them for trading. But right now, I want you to just understand how to tell if your horizontal lines of resistance and support will break. And you can tell that by looking at the price action coming into them. That is how you can tell that they're going to break, that's going to happen. All right, that's excellent right there. Let's get into, let's look at some charts. Let's just start looking at some charts and seeing what we can find here. We just did XRP. You guys now have 2 courses. You have one on trend lines and one on horizontal support resistance. So let's put that together and look at some charts. You should be able to now look at this and not see this as a bloody mess. You should be able to now look at this as art, as beauty, and it should be so crystal clear to you. So crystal clear to you. I am on the daily chart of Tron, of TRX, and you can see these things that we've talked about already. You can see this horizontal level, but look at what's happening with the buying. What do you see here? If you said, if you said you can see a series of higher, and draw that trend line, that series of higher lows, you are right. You are right. buyers began to buy into this. There was less and less selling happening, even though horizontal, even though that resistance stayed the same. Kick the door, kick the door, kick the door with higher lows, bam, smashed. Look at that. You can see it over and over and over repeatedly. And then you can see we've already talked about our trend lines. You can see how those play out just on this beautiful chart. You can see how historical trend lines give us future data. Look how that held out. This is all the way back from March 2020. Look at it come into play here. August, September, February 2021. It's still dealing with it. It's still dealing with this trend line from way back here all the way into 2021. These I continue to draw in the future because we'll use them as future price targets. Look at this historical price action horizontal line. Did it come into play in the future? Yes, it did. It actually was held up as resistance here on these two candles, broke through, held up as support, and we're now in between them. So I keep this line up there because it still could come down and test this. Draw them into the future. They will help you. They will help you make your trades. You can draw other ones on here from the past. Look right in here and see how they play out. Look at this. And it gets messy, but you can draw them and see what's going on. Let's take a look at an extended one. I want to show you an extended one on AVE, AAVE. We're on the weekly chart. Look at this beautiful channel. Just drawing trend lines. Remember, don't just draw your trend line on the bottom, because remember, when you draw your uptrend lines, you're normally connecting the bottoms. However, if you can channel that, if you can chamber that price action between a channel, I love that because it gives you just a beautiful picture. And look how beautiful this picture works. This goes all the way back from July 2019 to currently February 2021. It's a 19-month channel. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Testing, support, testing, support. You could trade that. I mean, beautiful, beautiful trading off of that. Beautiful swing trades. Using what? Just trend lines. Of course, we can use other things, but I just wanted you to see this picture. Since we are talking about support and resistance, we have talked about trend lines, and we're talking about horizontal price action. I just want you to see this stuff. This stuff should now start to make sense. Look at this horizontal price action of resistance from January 2018, tested in June 2019, before finally being smacked. This is a weekly. So it was tested right here. If you were to open this up into daily or hourly, you'll see a lot more candles testing this. So it looks like it broke easy, but it actually didn't. You'll see a lot more price action right here. However, it did test it here as resistance before finally breaking it. All the way from January 8, 2018, 3 years later, guys. 3 years later. But having known this, you would know where this was going to go and be tested and find resistance. You would know that. Now I wanted to show you something else here. Look at this right here. Small movements. When you see tiny movements like this, this is called accumulation. This is called accumulation. And look at what happened. We just taught this. Look at what happened. This is called accumulation. Higher and higher lows. But small movements. This is being bought. Continuously bought. I love this gradual movement because it says this is being accumulated and for a rocket. When you see price action like that, usually when it does finally come out, it comes out like a rocket. And look what happened. You can tell, BNB was a rocket ship here. But what you just learned in this class, what do you see here? You see beautiful price action into a door that has been knocked on once, 2 or 3 times here, 4 times, probably more if you go down into the shorter, remember on the weekly, so we're zoomed out. But if you were to zoom in on the daily or the hourly, this door will have been knocked on many times. Buying, higher and higher and higher lows. It's so sexy. It's so beautiful. And then you can see these incredible trend lines that have been drawn that came into play. Look at this trend line right here. As support, now resistance. If you break this down, look at this. This was resistance right here. If you open this up into hourly, you'll see a lot more price action resisting here. But I want you to look at this. Where did it hit its target? It hit its target from a line we drew from August 2017, guys. Look at this. To the T, to the letter. That was the perfect target for this bad boy. Oh my goodness, man, it's so beautiful. I hope you guys are seeing this. Start drawing these lines. I mean, look, you have it right here from August. It's used here. It's not used much here, but it's used here. Even though it wasn't used at all in this area, was it still effective? Look, this is July 2019. Almost a year and a half later. People would normally disregard this right here. They would be like, okay, that's done. It's over. We don't need it anymore. It'll never come into play. That's done. And so they never see it. Why? Because they're zoomed in on this. They never see this. Guess who sees it? Team 360, baby. 360 elite, because you guys are the elite. You guys are getting these secrets. Oh, I hope you guys realize what you're getting. You guys are getting the magic missile. You guys are getting the secret. I mean, this is so incredible. I'm so pumped. I'm so hyped because it works and you guys are going to be successful off of this. I don't even know what to say. Let's look at some more. Start doing these. Do them. This is a weekly. Look at these targets I have on VET. This is VET weekly. Now I can draw them on the weekly and then I can see them. So I have trading targets. I don't make my entries based off this. Remember, I have to zoom in. However, when I do zoom in, look at these horizontal ones. I want you to see that, how they held up. Another horizontal one here. Remember, the shorter the time frame, the less strong they are. Look how long the long time frame one held up. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's go to the daily. Look at these targets. These are future targets based off of breakouts and retests that I can use to make trades with. Oh, knowing you're in a bull market. I can make incredibly accurate trades, highly profitable with very few losses, guys. Very few losses with this stuff. Absolutely incredible. Weekly on ICX. This is a gold nugget, guys. Right now, we have an old horizontal support back in 2017, 2018. Look, when it stopped being effective right here and it went down here, most people would have deleted this line. Not 360, not Team 360, not Team 360, not Team 360. History. They would have neglected this. Why? Because there's no touches. No, that line is no longer there. It's no longer important. Oh my goodness, what just happened? What just happened? Oh, I don't even know what to say right now. A neglected area, something that no one else is looking at, just smacked you right in the freaking face. Just smacked you right in the freaking face. I mean, it's beautiful. And look what I have here, an old ATH. It's one touch. But if you don't think that area is going to come out to bite you, that old all-time high is going to be resistance in the future, you're crazy. You are crazy. Now remember, I'm not using this weekly to make a trade off of. I have to zoom in to the daily, then zoom into the hourly, then find my setup based off of that, which we're not using this class for. I'm giving you this so you can see the big picture and see how successful you're going to be just by looking at this. Just by these few classes that I've given you on candles, on trend lines and support resistance, you should be able to see right now, you should be getting excited. You are going to be successful. Because it works. Let's look at a couple more. Weekly on Loom. Weekly on Loom. Look at this old trend line back here. No one's looking at it. No one's looking at this. They're looking at this, maybe this stuff in here. No one is zoomed out. No one knows about these targets. Team 360 does. I mean, guys, this is too easy. Look at this channel. Look at this channel. This is a channel on Nano from March 2020 to June 2020. As soon as this broke, most people would have deleted it. But look, the bottom of this channel worked out as resistance. It did it again. And most would have deleted this top one. But if you don't think this top line is going to come into play in the future, you're crazy. Right now, it's still dealing with something that we drew way back in 2020. Look, to the T, it's holding up as resistance. Do you think this resistance is going to hold up? Do you think this is look at what we're drawing. What did I tell you about this? Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows into this. And plus you're in a bull market. Eventually this is going to fall. This is going to break. This resistance is going to fall. It's going to break. And what's going to happen? It's probably going to hold up as support. And we know this is coming. Oh, it's so easy. Look at this long horizontal resistance line. We could channel that. You guys are probably seeing it. Bang! Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, you could short-term trade that if you wanted. If you were a scalper, you could short-term trade that. I mean, come on, guys. Incredible, 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 incredible before busted. Look at this. It broke out on volume on a nice bullish candle. People probably thought this is going to just run away. But what happened on the next candle? I need you to get this back in your head. 9 times out of 10, old resistance will become new support. That doesn't bother me. I love to make my trades off of that move. Off of that move. Did everybody see that? A lot of people got in here thinking, it's going to go. This bad boy's going to go to the moon. Well, what happened? They got stuck holding the bag and then they got scared and probably sold. So they lost money. The 360 team did not, because the 360 team knows this happens. Watched it bounce off of this. Look at this beautiful bounce, and then it closed up here. And then somewhere in here, and I'm going to teach you that in a new class, we made our entry. I'm not going to show you on this. I'm going to show you when we do that, when we actually teach that class. And you would have made bank. Look at the bank you would have made without all this risk. Look at the bank without all this risk. Man, we're going to make some freaking money. I know this class is going long, but you need to see this stuff. So right now I'm just showing you. I'm not going to say a whole lot. I just want you to see it. I just want you to see it. I mean, come on, guys. You can draw lines in here. You can draw your horizontals so you can see the price action, but look at these trend lines. Oh, man. So here's a lesson I want you to see on this bad boy. Here we have a beautiful resistance trend line. A beautiful area of resistance or supply. Supply is where the sellers step in. Bang, 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 all throughout history. This starts way back in August 2019 to currently, almost 2 years later, we're still dealing with it. Now, I want to show you this. This is an example of a trend line still owning the price. Remember I said trend lines are areas, not exact price points. Now I'm going to show you why. Let's zoom in on this. Oh, a breakout! Yes! Breakout traders buying this, what would have happened to them? They'd be in trouble right now. They'd either be holding the bag or they would have sold at a loss because they saw this and they freaked out. Do you see a breakaway candle? No, you don't. Did it come up here? Yes, but this whole candle is still attached to this line. This whole candle, all of it still attached, even though it's got price up here. The trend line still owns the price action. And sure enough, bam, it kicked it down and became resistance again. This trend line is the daddy right now of BAT. Eventually, when this breaks and tests it, and we get a breakaway candle, that means a candle that is not touching, that is broken away, then we may have something to look at for a trade. Do you see that? A lot of people bought this. Why? Because it's so solid. And it broke out. A lot of people, I'm telling you, are holding this at 65 to 70 cents. And they're going, whoops. And then right here, a lot of them sold because they're stops. This is their stops. I want to show you this. You want to know why this did this? You want to know why this dipped? Because these guys that bought up here put their stops all the way throughout here. This is where their stops are. Bad trade. And so this right here is all of their stop losses getting taken out. All of these cats right here lost money. That's what this is. This isn't a problem with BAT and oh crap, the bear market's here. This is an example of everybody that bought this false breakout. I hope you're getting this. That bought this false breakout getting destroyed. Holders, that's why I keep telling holders, stop freaking out. Right here, I get DMs and the holders are going, the sky is falling. What is happening? Dude, the only thing that's happening is traders getting annihilated. It's dumb traders getting their butts handed to them. Holders, just chill. Remember, you're in a bull market. Relax. But they freak out. They fear and FOMO, and that drives me crazy. Because you see this now, guys, you can understand what's going on. You don't have to ask the question. These breakout buyers right here put their stops probably right under this line at different levels, depending on where they bought. All throughout in here. Some of them even gave themselves some space. But it broke and oh crap, it started to trigger stops. Once it triggered this one, it dropped the price. Triggering the next, triggering the next, triggering the next until all of them were stopped out. How do you avoid this? Don't trade the initial breakout. Are you going to miss some moves? Do some things break out and run? Sure. Who cares? Yes, you're going to miss some moves. But you risk. This is very risky. You risk getting your butt kicked. I would rather play the breakout after it comes back and tests support. And then we get a breakaway candle, guys. Boom, you put the odds in your favor. Man, you guys can freaking win. You can do this. Oh. All of my trades are based off of this type of technique, this type of skill, but off of different patterns, which we are going to get into. Man, I just wanted you guys to see how lovely this. Look at this. Look at this. It's beautiful. Now you can see the price structure that I taught you. Look at this. Watch this. Higher lows into resistance is going to usually cause what? A breakout. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, guys. Put this stuff into play. Start looking at it. Look at this trend line from way back here. Did it come into play in the future? Look, these guys forgot about it. They don't have this line on their chart. Daddy 360 does. And because Daddy 360 did, he knew that these buyers could sell up in here. I'm so excited, man. I'm so pumped. I hope you guys are getting this. I hope you're pumped. I hope you're pumped. Here's a chart on XLM on a line no one's looking at. No one's looking at this. Why? Because they have forgotten about this down here. They had this huge gap up. No one is looking at this. I am, because it's going to come into play. Yes, I do believe XLM can see prices this high. Why? Because it's written in the stars, man. Actually, it's not. It's because it's written on the charts. Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. And you can see it's dealing with a very old resistance line to the T. To the T. Look at that. To the letter. Oh, false breakout, guys. There's your false breakout. Again, you see this repeated over and over and over, and it's so easy, it's so dumb, it's so simple, and I can keep you safe. You can keep you safe. You can keep yourself protected. Oh. Here we have that bearish structure. We have that bearish structure on XRP. Lower highs into horizontal support. What's going to happen? It's going to break. It's going to keep going lower. Everybody else is thinking, oh, that's going to hold up. You won't know because of your class, it's not going to hold up. More than likely, not 100% of the time, of course. Of course, not 100% of the time. But look what happened. I mean, golly, especially because it's a bear market. Guys, it's a bear market. This was the bear market. So this pattern is bad, especially in a bear market. I would never long this. There's no way I would long this. I would short this. And sure enough, it works. Man, I don't want to keep going because, I mean, I think you got it. I think you got the point, and I think this video has gone on long enough. So, guys, we're going to stop there on horizontal resistance and support, what that battle looks like between buying and selling. Get in their chart, look at my chart, study my charts, start drawing lines, start drawing them from history, zoom out, zoom in, identify these patterns of higher lows into resistance and lower highs into support so that you can identify, will that structure break or will it not? Because it's going to come into play. It's going to help you. Man, I love you guys. Until we get to the next chapter, here comes the boom, baby.